session on how to use Google Keyword Planner to help you optimize your advertising using Google AdWords. And the whole point of this session is to get you familiar with the tool and to understand how keywords work and search volume and forecasts that you can use through this website, which is just ads.google.com, and go into Keyword Planner. So I'm going to take you through the first one, and this is just a blank account here that hasn't been used for advertising to show you just how it will look like basically if you have done something. So these are just two campaigns that were just used as test runs. So let's go ahead. So right here you'll see you can discover new keywords, and that's the approach I want to take. Now you can start with keywords when we're discovering new ones, or we can start with a website. Now I always recommend that if you have a website, I would go with that because Google will identify various words that stand out towards your business and the marketing strategy that might work the best and will give you a great overview. I would recommend starting with a website if you have great content and copywriting that Google would be able to take a lot of information from. Otherwise, if you don't have a website that you believe is a good start, then I would start with keywords, and that's where you can start with anything that you think is applicable to your business, whether it's your products or services. You want it to reflect as closely to your core or fundamental services or products that you think the public would click and go to your website. So you want to be very specific with it, but in the same way you want to be a bit broad so that you can get as many keywords as possible, and you can see which one will be the best for your budget. So I'm going to start with a website just so I can show you how it looks like, and I'm going to show you Delega's website in particular so that it gives you a good frame of reference. So here is Delega's website. I can create or find keywords based on specific pages or the entire site. So if I, for instance, want to advertise one aspect or one service or one product that we offer, then I can isolate it to that specific page and get recommended keywords that are applicable there. So the idea here is we're trying to get a broad range of keywords so that we can decide when we do create an ad which ones we want to bet our money on. And that really just depends on your marketing strategy and where you want to go with that. But ideally you want to be as broad as possible so that you can get the greatest audience possible that will ideally go to your website based on that certain keyword and convert into a client. So let's run this and we'll get the results, and you can see here that it's English and South Africa. You can always edit those if you want to, but let's just go ahead and see what results we get. So you can see here Google has gone through it and he's looked at the different keywords available, and it's just given 3 ideas here. I wouldn't say these are the best keywords for my website, but it is a start. So we'll just take a look at this and then I'll show you how you can go ahead and alter it if you want, but it's suggested 3 different keywords here and it's sorted it by relevance. So the ideas that's given is branding and logo design, logo and branding, and then logo design and branding. So you can see here we have a lot of information available to us, so let's just break it down a bit. We have the average monthly searches and branding and logo design. In South Africa, where I've set this keyword search using English on Google, the average monthly searches is between 10 and 100. If we go down to logo design and branding, you can see the average monthly searches is 100 to 1000. And now this is an interesting point of consideration, is to look at the competition. So if you want to understand what competition is, you can go ahead and put your cursor over it and read all about it. But it's very important to understand the competition, because if you're taking a budget and you're a small business, you really want to have an effective budget based on the certain keyword that you are using to attract clients or someone else to your website that searches that keyword. So you want to be quite smart about it if you're using a small budget. And you'll see here that branding and logo design has high competition, right? Whereas logo and branding has very low competition. And based on that, you can see that with the average monthly searches, they're kind of in the same range, yet branding and logo design is much higher in terms of competition, and logo and branding is quite low. And you can see how that reflects in the fees that are charged for that. So top of the page bid, you can read here, it just talks about how much advertisers have paid for the keyword at the top of a page. So when you go and you search for something on Google and it shows that very top page and it has an ad there, your brand or website will feature there if you have paid for this keywords in particular. And you can see the lower range here is R4.35, and for this one here it's R2.77, and you can see the higher range is R13.52 and R13.48. So you must remember here that this is the cost per click, and it does vary. So this isn't a definitive, you are going to spend R13.52 on that click, but it depends on the amount of advertisers that are using those keywords in particular in that certain location to attract potential clients to their website. So there's a lot of factors here, and you must remember it ties in with the average monthly searches and the competition, and that kind of directs how much you would expect to bid on those keywords. How it works is it's basically an auction house, and Google will get a whole bunch of different offers from prospective advertisers, and the advertiser that is willing to pay the highest bid, as you will understand, will be at the top of the page. And that just really depends on the competition and how it's looking at that point in time. So you can see logo design and branding has much higher average monthly searches, right? And the competition is a medium point, and you can see then that the bid is R2.82 and R8.90 at the higher range. So this is interesting, and it makes you kind of think, what is the best keywords here? If we're trying to evaluate based on my business and we have these different keyword combinations, I would look at this 100 to 1,000 average monthly searches in combination with the lower fees on average, and I would say, with a medium competition, that isn't so bad, and this might be a place where I want to utilize my budget, and I would go ahead with that. But I would recommend doing a bit more research and figuring out what works the best. So that's the general overview of how this looks like. At the top here, you can see it says you use different keywords for more results. You can edit that, and we can go back now. You see, so now we started with a website, and now we can choose to start with keywords, or we can direct it to a certain page. If I click start with keywords, this is where I can put in different keywords or services or products that I think relates to my business, and then I can enter a domain to use as a filter. So Google will use your domain as a filter to basically filter out services or products that you don't offer. So it just depends on how well the information is relayed and how Google uses that effectively. But for instance, let's just go ahead and put website design inside of this, and we're going to click get results, and you'll see here that a lot more has appeared, and this is now basing off of my one keyword here of website design, and now you see we have a lot more information to work off of, right? And this is really where the work starts to come in. So we've been offered 17 different keyword ideas available here, and you can see there's a whole range of 100 to 1,000 searches here. Web developers is 1,000 to 10,000, and you can see the bids reflect that, and there's really just a lot of different aspects that go into determining this fee. But for you, you really want to consider whether you have an effective budget to work with specific keywords, and you of course want to narrow in on certain keywords that you think will be optimal for your business in advertising on Google AdWords. So you want to make sure your budget goes as far as possible. And remember that with Google Ads, you are only paying for the clicks. So if someone clicks on your advert, that's when you will pay. So you're not going to pay for general impressions, which is how Facebook might work, or other social media platforms. But Google is quite unique in that aspect. But you must remember there's a lot that goes into this. So for instance, let's say we go with web design here, and we're going to have this average monthly searches of 1 to 10,000, medium competition, but the lower range is 14 Rand to 55 Rand. We must remember that if we are advertising at 55 Rand and the competition is quite high, that when someone clicks on our advert there on Google, based on the certain content we put there, and they go to our website, but they don't convert. In other words, they don't contact you, or they don't buy a product, or inquire about your services for a quote, then you've effectively paid 55 Rand to get them to your website without really any compelling thing. So it really just speaks to having a very a unified marketing approach that stretches across not just the platforms you're advertising on, but your website as well, which just goes to show how important your website is for conversions, and you want to make it as easy as possible. What's great about Google AdWords, just speaking generally, is that the website, or the advertising you do through the Google website is quite interesting in the sense that these are high quality leads. So when you're advertising on Google and you're attracting people to your website, these are people that are actively searching for your product or service. So this isn't a general impressions type approach where you might just put out content there and it gets shown to a whole bunch of different people, and maybe only a small percentage of those people are actually really interested, and then of those only a certain percentage will actually follow through with going to your website. Google's very different in the sense that the people that are being shown your advert are the people that are actually really interested in that certain keyword or of a product or service, and that's what sets it apart. So when you're advertising on Google, you really have to keep that in mind, that this is much higher quality leads that are coming from there, but also that in order to really convert them, you have to have a great user experience on your website. So that's just about the keywords, and when you create a Google ad, it's very easy to slot in all of these. So there's some more things you can do here on the left. You have keyword ideas. That's where we're trying to find the ideas we want. Here we can save keywords to see a forecast of them. So we can add a keyword to our plan. So let's just add website design, and we can save. Let's just create a new group test. Alright, so we have a keyword, we're adding our keywords, and here, now we're going to see some forecasts. So this is quite helpful in trying to figure out the strategy you want to take, and you can see here, this is the bid strategy. So we've clicked here, maximize clicks. That's an automated one. You just need to go with that, and you can investigate the other option there. But this is really where you can see the impact of anything that changes in the market. You can see if there's any seasonal fluctuations, and here it's quite useful when it says you can get 200 clicks for 4,200 Rand with 140 Rand average daily budget, and you can change this all, and you can figure out what works for you. As you can see, this is kind of the ratio they're showing. It looks like we start to max out at 1,200, 300 clicks with an average daily budget of about 6,000 Rand. It might not be reasonable for you, but you can see that there is this bit of an exponential growth here with the amount of clicks that tends to flatten off with a higher average daily budget. But for you, if you're wanting to spend a much lower fee, you just have to be cognizant that you might not get everything you want, and you just need to go for it. So yeah, we're going to look at this. I put in a 50 Rand average daily budget, and it says we'll get 110 clicks, and it shows us the cost per click on average 14 Rand, click-through rate, so that's 2.7%. So this is the amount of people that will actually click through. So of every 100 people that see your advert, this is saying that 2.7 people will actually click through. So, this is based on this website design keyword, and we saw the medium. It was medium competition, and you can just look at these forecasts here and utilize them for deciding on your campaign. You can see here that these are all the provinces that are being used and the different devices, and this is the forecast over the year based on clicks, and you can change this to kind of figure out what is going to work for you the best. So that's just some forecasting information that you can use. There's a lot more information on the internet to understand this and how it works. And if you go to Keyword Plan, we looked at this, and this is the saved keyword that we put in. Alright, so that is Keyword Planner, and it's very useful when you are creating keyword planning and when you are trying to understand your marketing strategy.